Okay, so dear Dharma practitioners, be comfortable yourself and relax your body. Keep your back straight, neck head straight in one line and your right palm on your left. So gently close your eyes and bring your attention to this bell sound. And while you're focusing to the sound, mentally relax your body, relax your mind, and relax your breathing with your thoughts. So do nothing extra. Just follow the sound, please. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Exalted One, the fully enlightened one. So dear Dhamma practitioners, before we start our practice session, as usual, we'll take few minutes for ourselves to understand how this practice can help for us to develop our inner clarity. So always you have to remember, you should not look for something else to build up your life. You have to, in the very first level, you have to use that what you have or what you know to build your life. So that should be the building block from the beginning. And then once you start to build that, on the top of the knowledge that or the wisdom that you already have within yourself, and then you can bring the wisdom from outside. So it is a skill, using and observing, recognizing, get the best out of who you are is a skill. So then always you have to remember, when it comes to practice, we brush up ourselves. We bring the clarity to ourselves, not bringing something from outside, but releasing that all the unnecessary things from our inside. So then when it comes to our thought patterns, our own mind, as you know, sometimes it is a good servant and sometimes it can become a bad master. So once upon a time, there was a king and he needed an advisor. And always the ministers, people always ask, and because the king was a little bit young, and everybody asked, who is your advisor? Who is your advisor? Because this king was so aggressive, very egocentric. You know, he not listening to anybody. And then he thought, if rather than saying I don't have any advisor, it is better I should keep someone just for the name. So then he started to look all the wise people in the country. And there was a very old person and not that much physical energy. And it was not that much famous. Then he thought, oh, it is better I hire that person, because then I can do whatever I want, and at the same time I can show him as my advisor. I have some recognition on the top of him. So Then what he did? He hired this advisor and told from the beginning, the very first day, oh, you remember, I am the king. You work for me. You are a servant of me. So then always you have to do the good things for me. So in the very beginning, with the very first day, the king put all the conditions, put all the rules to keep the advisor under his command. So the advisor, accepted that, and it was a very, great privilege for him to be with the king. And that day in the evening, as a welcome party for this advisor, now he need to announce this, he have advisor. So he had the dinner party, and the now king sit in the big chair, and the very next to him he had this very old advisor. He was not that much recognized by people, but somehow somebody told he's a intelligence person. And then now the king start to eat, and the advisor start to eat, everybody eating, and so then there was a one vegetable. Just imagine, like beans. So the king close to the advisor and told, these beans very healthy. It is good for the body. So the king was trying to, make him feel good about the dinner, that when the king was trying to show that we take care and we, think about food and the people, or kind of like that. So advisors, oh yeah, okay, good. Yeah, I heard about that. And then while they eating, again, the advisor told, oh yeah, I know that this is very good and it is give the longevity. When he said that, what happened? The cook heard that. Oh, it give the longevity. And then the very next day, for the king, he prepared that bean. And that day also the advisor appreciate this bean, telling, oh, this is very energized, it give the longevity, it give the good health, and it give the very nice skin color. So like that. And now cook, the chef heard that this thing, and he cook every day for the king, because we say, for the king, everybody wish for to long live the king, and he prepared every day. And for the third day, the beans came to that table, dinner table. And that day also the advisor, appreciate that, telling, oh, this is a very good, and the fourth day. So now what happened? The king start to get tired about the beans. So after 1 week, like, and king was so mad, because now for every day he's keep eating this. He got so mad, and what he did, he throw the plate, and the advisor also throw the plate, and then the advisor told that day, remember, I am your follower, I am your servant, I appreciate you. I don't care whatever That was our agreement. I don't care what is right or wrong. So you told me to, follow you, help you, and appreciate you, So I just keep doing that. So whatever you say, I have to appreciate that. So like that, our mind the same, our thoughts the same. We have all inner desires, greediness, or the hatred, or the anger, or the delusion, or the passion, or any kind of emotions. And we are so smart to manipulate all the dharma, all the method, all the teachings, and again empower the same thing inside us. So that is what this conventional life most of time. So then we have to understand how far we have to keep doing this. There's no end. But still we have a chance, we have an opportunity to look into ourselves. And now you have an opportunity to see the Dharma. So Dharma is the pure nature, the very organic nature of this everything. And if you are capable to recognize that and accept it and be with it, and what will happen? So by the time it will help you to get into the real wisdom. So the meditation is a method. Meditation is a one path that you take your deeper inner understanding to experience that, the reality. It's not like other things. It is totally different. It's not like kind of like just watching a movie or listening to music or dancing or kind of like doing party. It's not kind of like that. When you do that kind of things, you become more busy. You start to move too much. You may talk too much. But when it comes to this journey, you have to shut down that all. You have to calm down. You have to be silent. You have to be in one place. So those are necessary, the fundamental qualities that when you trying to observe your inside. So when you observe inside, what you see that that all our head to toes, each and every cell in a journey and changing, and there it's in a move. When anything moves, that you have to remember there is a current. So there is a bioelectricity inside us. Keep burning, and at the same time it gives the birth to something. So in between this burning and the birth, in between this, that our desires, our wanting hold us. So when the burning process happens, it's open our inner space to birth something, give birth to something. Because of we have a thirst. So that is the important word today, lesson, thirst. So you have to look into that. When it comes to thirst, just imagine when you're thirsty, like water. It doesn't matter, somehow you're trying to get something to drink. And even in the middle of the night, maybe you're sleeping, but unconsciously sometimes your hand go to, if you have a bottle of water, or maybe you wake up, go to the tap, or it doesn't matter, clean water or whatever the water, you just drink. And sometimes people, maybe as you heard, sometimes, when they get lost in the middle of the jungle, or maybe people go like a long hike or camping, maybe when they will get thirsty, somehow they try to find something to drink. Maybe if it is, if they have the clear water, it is okay, and in the middle of the city, maybe you say, oh, I drink only alkaline, it's kind of like, oh, I drink only this kind of brand of water, kind of like that. But how about when you get lost in the middle of the desert or in the middle of the jungle, you don't have this anything. Maybe you drink very dirty water. You don't care what it is. That's the power of thirst. See that when we are in the middle of the city, when we have all the facilities, when we are in our comfort zone, we develop all the measurements, and we develop all the comparisons. But you have a deeper, strong nature that anytime you are ready to do anything when you really get thirst. You don't listen to anything. That the thing is that all the dharma maybe will disappear, will vanish, become like dust. So you have to know that. Even though in the moment that you feel so comfortable underneath these muscles, underneath these bones, underneath this skin, there's a deeper thirst hide. So now everything good. You feed. That's why it's neutral. That's why it's silence. But the thing is, how are you going to address, how are you going to behave when that deeper thirst start to come? If you experience it, you may know what it is and how hard it is. If you don't experience it, remember there is something like that. And when that thirst comes with the needs and the desire, fulfilled to desire, wanting, and you're not going to listen to anything. No, any barriers can stop you. And the thing is this, there are some thirst. It will fulfill you right now in this very moment. But there are thirst keep growing in you. And you are waiting to fulfill it within maybe tomorrow, next week, next month, or next year. So as example now, festival time, party time. Okay. So just imagine you are getting ready for the Christmas party. And now you are planning inside, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to buy these drinks, and we're going to buy these colors. So kind of like, so what is that? So you are slowly addressing to that your thirst. And so by the time what will happen, when the day come very closer, your thirst is going to become so strong, so strong, so strong. And then, and the new year come, and then after new year, you start to planning, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to buy this. And then, so what is that? You're developing the thirst. So what is then this nature means? What you have to understand, this nature means you. Don't look that nature is something else, I am somebody else. No, you are the nature. So that's why I said, know thyself. Understand who you are. Understand what is happening in you. So once you understand what is happening in you, you will recognize that is what happening to all the human beings. In the ancient time to today, and whoever around you, that's what happening to all these human beings. And then in the future, that is what going to happen to all the human beings, whatever happening in you. No any difference. So then that is how then it's going to become a wisdom, and how it will help you to attain to the Nibbana. Because once you know this is the nature of human life, you come to the completion of this human experience. And that will help you to stop the journey. Because just imagine, oh, I want to become a human being again, and maybe you dreaming in the next life, in the, another life to become somebody. But after you become somebody, this is what you experience. There's nothing else. With your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, form, feeling, perception, volition, and recognition. That is it. That's all. That is, beyond that, there is nothing. So then if you understand that what you experience, it's moment by moment, disappearing, changing. And whatever you hear in this very moment, it's already disappearing. And the listener and even the myself, I am. So I also can't repeat, can't say one thing twice the same. I totally going to become a different person. And you are, whatever you hear, you also become a different person. And this all the machines, this everything completely becomes something new. And that's why out of the computer and if you use the internet, then end of the session, you will see how many bytes, megabytes that you burn, or the electricity. So how much electricity you burn, how much energy you spend, and yourself, how long you spend for this session. What does that mean? That you calculate the change. There's nothing else. So whatever, then it come deeper, there is a wisdom come to whatever you achieve. There is no kind of like a complete, independent, unchangeable, concrete place you can achieve. Because your life itself means a production of change. So using that life, you can't gain any kind of unchangeable things. Beyond this, that when it comes to this outside world, this everything, electron, neutron, protons, and then out of the beyond that quarks. So then when it comes to the Dharma, heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness, 4 elements, fundamental elements of this entire everything. So everything means the outside world and ourselves. So outside, whatever you see as your eye object, listen this very carefully, try to be with me. Whatever you see with your eye object, it came out of the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. There's nothing else. And it's always change. With your ear, whatever you hear, always manifest out of the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. And with your nose, whatever you smell, any aroma, came out of heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. Tongue, any sensation, taste, came out of heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. The body, any feelings arise in this body or the body object, came out of the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. The mind or the thoughts. So you can keep it for a moment. So this eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, that we take that connection to this outside world. So whatever the object related to this subject came out of heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. There's nothing else. So then if anything came out of heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness, that means it changed. Why? Because the heat itself changing, the heat happened out of if you take a heat, part of the heat, and examine in the middle of that heat, you again see the motion, liquidity, and hardness. If you take the hardness, you see the heat, motion, and liquidity. So kind of like that. So there is no kind of like you can separate something, any the fundamental quality you can't separate. It's all together. And everything has one thing similar: change. That is what keep everything together, change. Because everything change when because of that everything together. And as example, if the heat, motion, liquidity change, if the hardness is not changed, it cannot be with the heat, motion, and liquidity. So that's why heat, motion, liquidity, hardness come together, because all these four elements change. So the electron, neutron, protons. So electron change, neutron change, proton change. That's why that three things can come together. The unchangeable things can't be changeable with changeable things. Changeable things can't be with unchangeable things. If anything come together, it should have the same quality. So that is what happens. So when it comes to this outside, that what you see or what you experience, that all the objects came out of heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. So that means that all came out of the change. So if it is change, the out of the changeable object, if you get the experience, and from where you get the experience? From your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. So your eye came out of the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. So this eye is not solid. So behind this, there is a deeper process related to nerve system and the brain. It's a moment by moment change. It's like a flux. It's not anything is solid. If anything in any moment solid, what will happen? This I can't see like this. So the ear, the same. This ear, the physical ear came out of the heat, organ came out of the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. There is nothing, something permanent inside this. Behind this skin, skull, inside this head, this ear means the huge network work together. And when the sound come, when the sound appear, so what will happen? The ear start to appear. When the sound disappear, your ear going to become neutral. So the nose the same. When the smell came out of the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness, that means all the changeable elements, and the nose came out of all the changeable elements. If anything is unchangeable inside this nose, all the nerve system inside this, what will happen? This smell or the breathing you can't do. Then somehow you have to clean that block and make it happen, make it more, let it flow. So the tongue, the same. There's nothing solid. This all heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. And then the body, the same. So when it comes to entire our body, this body always, it's like a jellyfish. Even though we feel like solid, if you put it to a kind of like some machine and then like a microscope, and you will see how this change. Your entire body is kind of like a cloud. It's always, when it comes to the cloud, there's nothing solid. It's always changing, moving, changing. Even though we see it's kind of like the same shape, same structure, by the time you see how it changed. So this change, so outside things related to heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness, changeable things come to you, and that is where you experience this. With your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, that also change. So this is the thing. With changeable things, how you can get unchangeable experience? That's the question. With changeable things, how you can get an unchangeable experience? You can't. So then what you experience moment by moment, change. So that is the depth of your life. That is what happening. There's nothing else. So then how this becoming come? How we appear like this? Even this body die, and how the consciousness start to go and find a mother and father or any other living being. So maybe it has the power to appear itself. Sometimes there are living beings, they don't need the parents. They can appear themselves. Your consciousness has that kind of power. How it come like? When the thirst is so strong, and sometimes you don't need the mother and father even. You can appear yourself. So point is, in day-to-day life, don't enrich, don't empower that thirst inside you. Try to quench that thirst. How you can quench that thirst? Recognize the impermanent nature of your experience. And know you are bound to that. Know that whatever you experience with your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, that experience come out of the change, and that experience happened because of the change. That experience disappear because of the change. If you are capable to understand that, so by the time what will happen? Rather than following your desires, your mind start to settle down and recognize the truth and be with the truth. So that is what we need. But the thing is, it's in the boxing, in the boxing games, that the most of time the coach, what the coach say always, I can give the lessons, but I can't give my heart to you, because you have to have a good heart, function, breathing heart to boxing, like a 12 rounds to go, So like that, in this life, in this wisdom path, I can't give my wisdom to you, but we can just share the informations. So it is you. So you have to take that responsibility to yourself and practice yourself. And then every day you have to see, are you developing, encouraging, enriching that thirst inside you? If it is so, remember, sometimes it's not going to listen to anything. When the thirst is high, knowingly, unknowingly, consciously or unconsciously, it doesn't matter you like or not, it doesn't matter other people like or not, you will do that. That is the very nature of the thirst. So you have to know it. So then, don't keep the thirst for unnecessary things. Because we all can't get out of the thirst overnight, but at least you can have ability to get out of all the unnecessary things. You should not have the thirst for unnecessary things. So that's another way we find the path to explain it, the kind of self-discipline. But this is more, it is not a kind of, oh, I don't do this, or it's kind of like, it is not like that self-discipline here. This is a deeply you observe and recognize the nature. It's nothing to do with the right or wrong or good or bad. It's kind of like that. You can't categorize your life like that way. But fundamentally, you have to understand the very essence or the very nature of this happening. because we all belong to some kind of this nature. This is what called the human nature. So one should understand that. You are capable to slowly get out of it, like the lotus flower. You know, it's come from the mud. It's go through the water, but it has ability to stay above the water. So you are the same. You came because of the thirst. You live through the thirst. But there's another thing. You can go beyond this thirst and you can live a life without the thirst. Just imagine how peaceful if you can go to sleep without any thirst in you. How beautiful when you wake up if there is no thirst in you. How beautiful when you see something if you don't have a thirst. How beautiful, how peaceful when you hear something if you don't have a thirst. How calm when you smell something if it doesn't have a thirst. How safety when you have a conversation with somebody if that other person doesn't have a thirst about you. When we associate people, you know, when we be with people, how about that other people feel so comfortable and you don't have a thirst about others. And when it comes to mind, you observe your primary mental object without any thirst. And that is where you find the deeper tranquility state. And that is where you find your transformation, your liberation, your ultimate bliss of Nibbana within yourself in this very moment, right now, right here. So samsara means what? Another way? The thirst. So look into that. So with that, let's get into practice a little bit now. So your right palm on your left and neck get straight in one line and be comfortable with your posture. So bring your attention to your body and scan head to toes yourself and say Sopatveva, or may I be well and happy 3 times. Take a moment and think. We gathered here in this moment, practice this ancient meditation technique. All the Buddhas, all the enlightened masters followed this path and achieved wisdom. So we also gathered here to accumulate that knowledge. In this moment with this sitting, may my body become more comfortable, may my breath be more smooth, may no difficulties come to me, may all the success come to me. Also think for a moment, this is the last moment we're spending in this very lifetime, and detach your mind from all your past memories and as well as any kind of future thoughts. Just try to remain in the present moment, observing the sensation of your inhalations and exhalations. So in the beginning, deeply and gently, breathe in, breathe out 3 times and find the sensation, please. And allow your inhalations, exhalations happen itself. So when it happens through the sensation, recognize it. Do nothing extra. So learn to observe your inhalation, exhalation without any thirst. Bring your attention to your body, please. Observe your posture. We cultivate loving kindness and compassion in our heart and radiate it as a light through entire your compound, village, city, state, country, world, around this universe. Also, as far as you can, through galaxies, other planets, stars, reminding yourself like this with clear intention, mentally repeat after me. May all living beings in this universe be well and happy. May everyone be happy and safe, and may their hearts be filled with joy. May all living beings live in security and in peace. Beings who are frail or strong, tall or short, big or small, visible or not visible, near or far away, already born or yet to be born. May all of them dwell in perfect tranquility. Let no one do harm to anyone. Let no one put the life of anyone in danger. Let no one out of anger or ill will wish anyone any harm. Expand the loving kindness and compassion beginning from your heart. Forward. Visualize yourself and send it as a light. To your backside. To your left side. And to your right side. Downward. And upward. To all 6 directions at once. Like the moon, the sun, spread the light, spread the energy without any condition, without any limitation, without any resistance or without any judgment. Let your heart to shine with the loving kindness and compassion from the bottom of it with the maximum effort to the highest. Wishing yourself, may all living beings in this universe be well and happy. Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So first of all, we offer this practice to the great qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. And also by the power of this meritorious deed, may all of us attain to the supreme bliss of Nibbana. May all your guardian angels and deities will receive these merits and increase their longevity and protect all of you from any kind of planetary influences or any ill effects. Ittavata cha ammihi sampadang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya Imaya Dhamma Anudhamma Patipattiya Buddhang Pujemi Dhammang Pujemi Sanghang Pujemi Attaya Imaya Patipattiya Jati Jara Vyadi Maranam Ha Paribunjissami Idamme Punya Kammang Asavakkaya Vahang Hotu Sabba Dukkha Pamunchatu. Bless you.